Good morning, and we welcome you all for this Cyber Jagrata Divas as we are observing on first Wednesday of every month. So today, like we are going to have a session on today we are going to have a session on strengthening the cyber defenses and essential best practices for individuals and organizations. As we all see, like every day, like new kind of cyber crimes as well as the modus operandi is getting changed on every aspect of it. So that is the reason, like we thought, like we'll cover this as part of our cyber jagrata deva session, right? So to deal with this session, we have an expert with a setting. So I will brief the details about I'll brief such details during the during my presentation. So as we all know, like we are observing the Cyber Jagrata Divas on first Wednesday of every month for all ministries and organizations under ministry to other various institutions and organizations at the same time, right? So this we are doing in the form of virtual mode, as you know, like we cannot go each and every organization to do this. So we thought like we will organize this awareness session in the form of virtual mode. So that doesn't mean that like you cannot ask anything. You can ask all your questions in the chat area, so which is there in the right hand side bottom. So if you have any question related to the any cybersecurity aspects, you can just put down your query there. You can put down your query there, so that after end of the session, like we will try to address all queries, right? You can make use of it, but don't use it to, hello, hi, good morning and all. If there is any genuine question, please keep that genuine question in the chat area, so that we'll try to address that question by end of the session, right? Related to this cyber security as well as on this related session itself. Okay. And the objective of this session is to create awareness for prevention of cyber crimes. We are, as I told you, like more than 9,000 plus kind of things, crimes are reported across India, but we don't know like how many are actually reported and how many are not actually reported, kind of thing. But this the that is an anecdotal evidences, right? Like as we are trying to create this awareness in the form of awareness workshops, seminars, and interactive session. As I told you, like we wanted to keep the session as much as interactive, so that you can keep the question, and whenever the resource persons are asked questions, you can also respond to them, so that you also will come to know we are all in the same pace, right? And we are also organizing the quiz competitions. We are also sharing best practices and case studies as part of our session, so that people can understand, and people can understand and can follow those cyber hygiene practices as part of your daily and professional life, and highlighting some of the cyber hygiene practices which are going to be important for all of us to follow those things as part of our personal as well as professional life. Okay, so as I told you, all the ministries and its organizations can participate in this session, and we have done a number of sessions on these various aspects, like either it could be on phishing, wishing, smishing, social engineering attacks, and how do we keep the password strong. We are reiterating that keep password in all our sessions as part of our project activities also, but still people are taking it in a very lighter mode to keep a strong password, kind of thing, which leads to kind of financial frauds, or sometimes the accounts will compromise, and provide knowledge to safeguard digital devices, like as part of our session, like we are covering these things also. How do you safeguard your digital devices, like if at all, if you are managing with a smartphone, the smart TV, laptop, whatever it is, any smart device which you are using, that has to be protected properly. Otherwise, there is always chances, if the devices are vulnerable, people can enter and can do their activity by using those devices, kind of thing. And manage security and privacy aspects of an individual and organization. Whenever you are using any instant messaging platforms or any social interaction platforms, you have to keep settings and passwords strongly, so that you can protect all your things properly, right? So these awareness session, the cyber jagrata Divas sessions, we were organizing as part of our ongoing ISEA project of Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, right? So this ISEA, I think most of the people might aware, like we are focusing as part of our ISEA project on 4 key aspects. So one is generating the highly skilled cybersecurity professionals. All ministries, departments, and institutions have the cybersecurity professionals, but we are trying to enhance their skills so that they can perform their activities they can perform their activities right manner, as well as they can safeguard their entire infrastructure, like whatever the infrastructure which they are having, either it could be a website or it could be in a network, all such kind of things they can protect safely. And grooming the students towards the product and solution, like we are offering these BTech, MTech, and PhD level cybersecurity courses at various institutions under this project. So more than 50 plus institutions are working across India on this cybersecurity domain, and those people are developing the courses and sharing with their affiliated colleges and affiliated universities, so that they can also offer these courses, and strengthening the research and dedication in the information security. Like to address this, like we are conducting boot camps, hackathons, and innovation fairs and all kind of thing. You can get more information at isea.gov.in, so that if anyone interested, you can participate in those aspects also. And Cyber Aware Digital Nagarik, which is a mass awareness program, so which we are doing under the ISEA project. So I think under this program, like we are trying to create mass awareness among the various group of users, start from the student to senior citizen. So to implement these awareness activities, we have our ISEA cyber ambassadors and all our CDEC and IRIT centers, and all our ISEA institutions are participating at national level to create this awareness at various levels. Right, to address these 1, 2, 3, 4 aspects, like we have a common infrastructure and shared resources. Those things, like it will like we have our endogenous forms, like we have our own forms, like we have CTF, capture the flag, and virtual apps. Of course, like those things are not available to everyone. So for whoever want to access either department or institution wise kind of thing, we can give the permission so that they can start using such kind of infrastructure. So these are the 5 key aspects of ISEA project, right? As I told you, like we were implementing this mass awareness program under the cyber in the name of Cyber Aware Digital Nagarik. It is called as Stay Safe Online, right? Cyber Aware Digital Nagarik. Why we kept is like all are digital Nagariks only, but how many are cyber aware, right? So to address that issue, like we kept the this initiative as a Cyber Aware Digital Nagariks, which is a Stay Safe online program. Website is also there. You also can access it. So we were trying to create this awareness in the form of workshops, webinars, and we're also training the master trainers and volunteers, so that in turn they can go back and they can organize these awareness workshops to various group of users within their within their locality. And awareness weeks also we are organizing. It is a 1 week program, so wherein we associate with the state departments and organize these awareness weeks in the entire state for 1 week. And we're also trying to use our DDA community radios to reach the last mile in the country. And we have a website, and website is fully enriched with a lot of resources in various Indian languages. And you have various multimedia awareness material which is available to create this awareness among the various group of users. And we have platforms like CyberKid, Cadet, Employee, and all these kind of things. I'm going to show it to you so that you can make use of those kind of things. So this is the portal which I'm talking about. So you can just go to the Stay Safe Online. You can just type Stay Safe Online and you will be logging into your. And as I told you, like we have n number of awareness resources. Either it could be in the form of awareness posters, cartoon stories for children to understand the things, and cybersecurity tip of the day, and tip of the day video also we are having every day we are releasing. And like we have our ISEA app is there, so you can download and you can get daily tips, daily videos and advisories and all such kind of things. All these things are available. You also can participate, you also can contribute your services in this domain, so that we will check and we will publish in our portal, right? So these are the cyber fitnesses, and these are the courses which I'm talking about. So if you are a kid and if you are at home, like if you have someone, kids, children kind of thing, so ask them to enroll and can continuously enhance their knowledge. And if their employees are there, you can register and you can complete the course. And you have cyber defender course, who can complete the course, and so that we can allow them to organize these awareness workshop in their respective schools, colleges, at community level kind of thing. So these courses are all already available in the portal, so you can log in and you can enroll yourself and enhance your knowledge in this direction, right? And we have another program called cyber ISEA cyber ambassador, like wherein you can join with us, and we will complete the formalities, and later like we will share all these resource material kind of thing with you, so that you can keep on organizing the cyber awareness workshop in your localities to different kind of people. Like if anyone is interested, please join in the as a ISA cyber ambassador, so that you are contributing towards the national security. That's the with that aim you can join, and you can enhance your knowledge, as well as you can try to create awareness among the various group of users, right? So we have these volunteers, more than some hundreds of volunteers are there across India. So those people are already started, since from long time they started, and they're creating this awareness on to various group of users, right? So today we are going to have a session, you know on strengthening the cyber defenses, essential best practices for individuals as well as organizations. To deal with this session, we have with us Shri S. Dingra sir, and who has, let me give a brief introduction about him, so that you also can understand and you can follow his session, so that you can get best better insights, so that you can safeguard your own cyber security, your family, your organization's security, right? So he has done his master degree in computer science from Indraprastha Institute of Information Technology, Delhi, and he has more than 9+ years of work experience, including the 2 years of 2 years at Microsoft, and presently he is working at CETIN under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, since from 2017, and he is having expertise, and he is involved at CETIN, part of the incident response team and a mobile security team at CETIN. So with this brief introduction, we request S. Dingra sir to take the session on the strengthening cyber defenses, essential best practices for individuals as well as organizations. We thank you for joining with us, sir, and we'll, over to you, sir.
Thank you for introducing me to the audience, Jagdish ji. I hope I am audible. Just making a microphone check once again.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, sir, and you're audible, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so one request, Jagdish ji, if my voice breaks in between or if I have a network failure of some sort, just give me a call quickly. I'll just arrange the other, something
Sure, sir.
else.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Because I was actually on leave, so I not in
Okay.
office, so I'm doing it from home. So there might be some
Yeah.
intermittent breakage. If we can just fix it quickly, that would be great.
Sure, sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
so I'll just share the slides. Just give me a second.
Yeah, please.
Is it visible?
Yes, sir, it's visible, sir. Yes, visible, sir, it is.
Oh, okay.
All right, sir.
Okay, great. So, I think I can start now. Yeah,
Yes,
so
sir.
my name is Yash Dhingra. I'm a scientist D in the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. I am currently working in Computer Emergency Response Team, or the Indian Computer Emergency Response Team, which is like the nodal cybersecurity agency of India. So today we are going to be talking about strengthening cyber defenses, essential best practices for individuals and organizations. So this is like a two-pronged topic in a way. If you see, it is we are going to be talking about how to protect the individuals and the organizations also. But when you think about it on a deeper level, you'll understand that any organization is just the sum total of its individuals itself. With the individuals, we can also think about the devices that are deployed by the organizations. But all the devices, of course, are managed by individuals. So again, it comes down, to the same level that you need to protect the individuals and you need to make the individuals who are managing the systems aware about how to protect the organizations. So let's begin with the slides. So I'll just talk about some current trends that have been going on. Usually we don't publish the kind of incidents that we deal with at certain. So I make it a point whenever I am delivering any presentations, I bring some updated incidents that we have handled in the recent past, maybe somewhere around a year and a half, which have been very interesting and which actually can be useful as part of our discussion for today. So let's see some of these. So this is an example of defacement. Defacement, as I think everyone would know, or if you don't know, then maybe the name itself is self-explanatory. So defacing means to embarrass somebody, to shame somebody. So what the attackers usually do in this case is they take control of a website. Mostly the targets are Government of India websites, especially on our special days like 15th August and 26th January. And around the year also this keeps happening. So the attacker actually exploits some kind of vulnerability which is there in the website because the website has not been secured properly. And after exploiting the vulnerability, they actually change the homepage itself of the website. So what happens is that whoever comes and visits this particular website, they'll see the page hosted by the attacker. So you can see this is the gov.in website on top. I'll just zoom in so you can see it. So this is gov.in website and it has been defaced. You can see the homepage has been changed. And this is fairly recent, happened in June 2024. Basically this was also like publicized on Telegram and other channels because these any kind of defacement activities usually publicized, or they it's kind of a chest thumping activity because they want to tell everybody that they have defaced a government website, so they'll just publicize it everywhere as far as possible, wherever they can. So this is an example of a fake website. The URL I have given below. If I'll just zoom in so you can see it. So the URL is nia.gov.in dot some random characters dot info and then submit your willingness. So this is like a willingness form that they have created. If you see the logo of Government of India, the logo of NIA, everything would be perfect. And then if you see, submit your willingness for deputation with NIA. So they have created this form for deputation. So you know who all are going to be targeted with this. Or only Government of India or government employees are going to be targeted because of course deputation is something that is going to be of concern only to us as government employees. So they are taking the name, the mobile number, email ID. address, pin code, date of birth, a lot of these details. The form is huge. It's there are a lot of details beyond this also, what I could fit in the screenshot. Okay, and then moving to next, this is an example of a phishing website. I think most of you being part of the government would recognize this page. This is the NIC email that we use, the homepage. Some of you might have been already shifted to another provider, but this is the page I think by default most of you would be using. And I'll just zoom in. You can see look at the URL. It is email dot ni random characters dot site. So that is the domain that they have created. And again, this is fairly recent. It was detected in or it was reported in June 2024. Okay, so this is a little older, but this is something that is continuing to happen right now also. So I have kept it still in the screenshot, although it may not have appeared in the news lately, but this is something that we keep facing. So this is from 2020. This is a report which says that ISRO, Ministry of External Affairs, nuclear scientists among 3,000 breached government email IDs. So this is pretty serious because all these organizations, and in fact all other government organizations as well, are like fairly commonly targeted, including yourselves, most of you. The reason is that it's not like even if you're not even if you're not dealing with any top secret or confidential information, still you possess something like called the NIC email ID. So someone reported there's no sound. Jagdish ji, can you just confirm?
No, no, sir. We are getting, sir. We are getting, sir.
Okay,
We
okay,
are
great.
getting. Please go ahead. Tanmay please
Okay,
check yourself.
okay, okay. Right. So, yeah. So it's not like if you're not dealing with any confidential information that you can be complacent and you can say that I am not going to be targeted. That's not the case. The reason is that all of us are part of a secured group in the sense that if you receive an email from a random email ID, for example, gmail.com, and it says that you have received an SMS from you have received an order from the additional secretary and it needs to be followed urgently and it contains an attachment. So if it is coming from a Gmail ID, you will automatically not trust that email and you will feel that this is probably some kind of spam mail or some kind of this attachment could be malicious, it could be a virus, right? But if that email is coming from an email ID which ends in gov.in or nic.in, you might trust it in the first go itself because you'll think that this is probably coming from someone from your own organization or from your own office. So that is the reason that if you somehow get your email ID compromised, you end up risking the entire government infrastructure. So you need to, all of us actually need to be aware that all the whatever devices, whatever email IDs, whatever digital assets that have been provided to us for our daily office work, we need to protect it, and it's our responsibility so that we can protect not just ourselves, but government of India as an organization or in total also. So that's like the gist also of this today's talk that we are going to be talking about essential best practices for protecting not just the individuals but the organizations. Okay, so next is data breach. This is getting increasingly common and it's of course very frustrating because what happens is that the attacker actually gets into the network of the organization by exploiting some vulnerability and what they do is that they'll get inside the devices, the servers, they'll get hold of all the confidential information and then they will simply upload it onto their own server somewhere else sitting in some other country and then once they get hold of all that data, they'll simply advertise it in multiple places and they'll start selling that data. So not just this actually comes up as a very embarrassing situation for the organization itself because it was not able to protect itself. So it's an embarrassment for the government of India. And beyond that, it's also a huge security risk because government of India, of course, processes and uses and stores a lot of information of the citizens for delivering essential services. So that becomes like a huge security risk. And you can see that this is like an advertisement how they make it. So this is from Islamic Cyber Team. This is some Indonesian hacker group which has done this. And you can see the website over here. So it's again a gov.in website, and they'll say that they all have all this data, ID, name, email, phone number, address, bank account number, etc. And then they'll ask for some money, mostly in bitcoins or some cryptocurrency. They'll ask for money so that people, whoever want to buy this data, they can come up and they can pay them the money and they can get hold of the data. Okay, so this is another one. India on high alert as hacker group plans cyber party targeting critical digital infrastructure. So this is also something that was done by another Indonesian or maybe a Malaysian cyber group or Malaysian threat actor. And what they did was they advertised this cyber party in advance that they're going to be doing this in a few days. And they invited all the hacker groups, all the groups wherever they are sitting in the world, that they should join this cyber party and they should start attacking Indian institutions. So they had named the organizations which were going to be attacked, and this is mostly like an attack in this cyber party. The most common attack that we saw was actually a denial of service attack. So what happens is if all the hacker groups actually join together and they start bombarding the same server with a lot of requests at the same time. So the server is not able to respond and it leads to a denial of service. So that's the thing that actually happened in this particular incident. And this was actually not just one incident, it was a series of attacks that happened. And again, this I've included this in the slides because this still continues to happen. They just changed the name, like this, it was called Cyber Party. They'll call it something else at this some other point of time, but this keeps happening from time to time. Okay, so this is another example. You'll see Hacktivist Indonesia are back. This is another hacker group, and this is the same Cyber Party, December 11, 2023. Target all Indian websites. So they'll name the websites and they'll ask all the hacker groups to start attacking them at the same exact time. Okay, so India emerges as top three target for nation state driven cyber attacks. So nation state, as some of you might know, if you don't know, then I'll just explain. So nation state driven cyber attack means that when a government funded hacker group is actually involved in attacking another country's institutions. So of course, if it is a government funded hacker group, then the organizations which are going to be targeted for various different reasons are going to be government organizations. And over here, you can see that these are the victims, the top victims inside this. So in this pie chart, the green pie is actually India, which is 13%. Number one is Korea, second is Taiwan, number three is India. Not a very good place to be, of course, and we don't want to be in this place, but that's the way that things are. And of course, with the increased amount of digital penetration in India, the risks and the threats keep on increasing from time to time. So ransomware, you might have heard of this name. It's been dreaded for a few years now, and it continues to wreak havoc on a lot of large organizations. So an attacker group which actually get inside your network into some server, and then what they'll do is they'll start encrypting all the data which is available not just on your server but also on all the client machines. And one fine day, when everybody comes to office, this actually happens on most likely on Saturday nights when nobody is in office, and is mostly discovered on Monday mornings when at 9:30 people start coming to office. They open their machines, they start their machines, and what they find is that all their data has been encrypted. and the hacker group has actually demanded a ransom of a few $1 million for returning the data back to them. So this is happening, consistently happening, and Certain is actually constantly looking at such incidents and helping the organizations cope with these kind of attacks. So another one, India among countries with the most Android malware, GB WhatsApp among responsible apps. So this is also something that keeps happening. The attackers create fake mobile applications which are just exact replicas of the genuine apps, and they start distributing these apps via WhatsApp and via emails or SMSs, and people just install all these apps on their devices, and it leads to complete data loss. The attacker simply, takes away all the data, and also, of course, financial losses as well. So your mobile is something that you need to keep be very something that you need to be very alert about, because all your OTPs are going to land on your mobile device, and you don't want all these OTPs to be getting leaked. Okay, so Indian banking customers targeted by SOVA Android Trojan malware. So this is a report that was published by Certain, and this is an Android banking malware, which means that whatever banking applications you are using, it actually targets that, and it is able to steal a lot of money from whoever is targeted. Okay, so that was the first section, which is the trends that I just uh, included so that you can have an idea of what all is actually going on in the cybersecurity domain in these days. Now we'll be talking in the second section about the threats, with the different types of threats that are there and the different levels of threats which are there. And after the threats which are there, we are going to be talking about how we are going to be defending our organizations and ourselves against them. Okay, so these are the threat levels, and you can see that on the top is the nation, the second is the state, the third level is the organization, and the at the core of all these levels is the individual. So as I explained earlier, if we are able to protect all the individuals, and if you're able to sensitize all the individuals about their own security, we are able to sensitize all the individuals who are managing the organizational security, how to protect their organizations, then we'll be in a considerably better situation of cybersecurity for the organization, and if eventually the states, and eventually the country itself. So that's how it goes. And what happens in general is that what we have seen, and of course I have seen as part of my experience here at Certain, while handling a lot of cybersecurity incidents for a lot of critical organizations, is that the cybersecurity issues or the cybersecurity incidents actually work like have a domino effect. The smallest, denominator, or the individual, is always the one who is actually the first one to be targeted, and mostly the organization will be targeted by a simple, phishing email, or an email that has a malicious attachment, which someone who is not aware or who is a little careless, they will click. And once they click it, the malware will be installed on the device, the individual device. From the individual device, the malware will actually spread to the network, then it will reach the servers, then the entire organization will be infected. So that's how this domino effect actually works. Uh, okay, so we'll talk about some mitigation layers. Uh, the first is actually called threat prevention. So mitigation, actually, if you look at the word, it means how we are going to be uh, how we are going to be solving a cybersecurity incident, or how we are going to mitigate once a cybersecurity incident has already happened. So, but you'll see that this first one, the threat prevention, shouldn't ideally be part of the mitigation, but I still put it over here. The reason being that your mitigation can only happen if you're already prepared. If you're not prepared, then of course you will not be able to mitigate anything at all. So that's why the first phase of mitigation, or solving a cybersecurity incident and coming out of it, the first step is the prevention part, that you don't want the cyber incident to actually happen in the first place, and we'll need to look at the best practices and the policies that need to be in place so that our applications and our servers and our networks are actually well protected from all kinds of cyber attacks. So that's the first layer. Second layer is threat identification. So your organization or your individual devices, they should have security tools and different appliances in place which can actually detect the cyber attack as early as possible, and then it can start raising some kind of alarms which are being looked at by which are being looked at by a specialized team who is on the job 24/7 just to see what is happening. So the identification is the second layer. The third layer is the remediation. So remediation means once you have identified that there is a threat, or once you have identified that there is something wrong inside the network, some attacker has actually gotten in, then you can actually apply all the strategies and tools which are already in place. So again, the pre-planning is required. You need to have all the strategies uh, laid out in concrete manner, the responsibilities laid out in concrete manner, so that the organization can actually start executing this plan, and the organization can actually the organization can actually come out of the cyber attack and be back on its feet as soon as possible. So that's the third layer, remediation. So prevention, identification, and then remediation. Okay, so now we'll be talking about some organization security best practices. So there is a document which actually has been created by Certain. It was published in June 2023, and this is actually a document which is it is a guideline document for all government entities for protecting their information security appliances and information security infrastructure. So it's a very fairly simple and crisp guideline document. It's not like a 1,000-page document that is going to be impossible for you to read and comprehend. It's a very crisp document, and it covers almost all the aspects that are important when it comes to protecting ourselves as government entities and as even as individuals. So I'll be talking about what some of the things which are already there in this document. I'll be introducing this document to you in a way because, of course, it's not possible to discuss the entire thing in this in the course of 1 hour. But I'll be introducing the document to you, and of course, I'll be telling you where all you can actually go, and you can look at the document and seek the details whichever are relevant to you. So the aim of this document or this entire exercise is building organizational capability to first of all detect incidents, then analyze incident, and then respond to incidents. So again, we just talked about the threat levels. So threat prevention, identification, and then threat mitigation. So these are the just it's almost the same thing when we are looking at the aims. First is the detection. Of course, you need to figure out your network needs to figure out that something has happened. Then you need to analyze and find out what exactly has happened, and then responding to it in the manner which is appropriate for that particular cyber attack, so that you can take all the right steps, and the organization can start functioning normally again as soon as possible. Okay, so the scope of this particular document is again all the government entities, including the ministries, departments, secretariats, attached offices, subordinate offices, and all other government institutions, including public sector enterprises or whatever other agencies are there under their purview. So everything, all the entire government infrastructure and government setup is actually under the scope of this document, and all of these any if your organization falls under any of this, you can actually go ahead and just take these guidelines and simply get them implemented in your organization. In fact, this particular document is not just relevant for government entities. It can be used by any other entity also, whoever is actually trying to improve their cybersecurity cybersecurity setup, they can actually use this particular document for improving their posture. Okay, so I'll talk about some policy measures which need to be there in the first place, which have been defined in this in the document itself. So first is that a dedicated team is supposed to be stationed at every organization level, which needs to deal with cybersecurity incident. A CISO needs to be nominated. So a CISO means Chief Information Security Officer. So we need to, the organization needs to appoint or nominate a CISO. CISO actually reports directly to the senior management of the organization, and the CISO is generally the person who is going to be the point of contact for certain. So certain, as you might know, is the national nodal agency for dealing with cybersecurity threats and incidents. And all organizations, as per law, as per IT Act, are supposed to report all their cybersecurity related incidents to certain. And the timeline that has been defined is 6 hours. So as soon as it is detected, as soon as a cyber incident is detected, it needs to be reported to certain within 6 hours. That's as per the law. Now, there is another document which has been created by Ministry of Electronics and IT. The document has all the roles and responsibilities of a CISO. So if your organization has a CISO, they can just go ahead and go through this document to find out what their roles and responsibilities are. It's again a very crisp and very useful document, and it will be it can be useful for any organization that is appointing their CISO. So there is another document, guidelines for chief information security officers of central government ministries departments issued by NIC. So NIC has created a document also. So these are the guidelines, and the document previously that I just mentioned that was created by MIT is actually the roles and responsibilities. So the two things are very clearly defined for all government CISOs. Okay, so continuing with some more policy measures, the network security actually needs to be monitored constantly, and whatever alerts are being raised inside the organization, they need to be monitored, then they need to be tracked. And conducting cyber incident response. Whenever a cyber incident has happened, you need to actually look at that the team who is looking at the cybersecurity, they need to go ahead and check the whatever alert has been raised, and they need to respond to the cyber incidents. Formulating, enforcing, and reviewing IT security policies. So, if your organization has an IT security policy, very good. You need to just keep on upgrading it, reviewing it, updating it. But if not, then maybe your organization can actually consider creating a cybersecurity policy, conducting cybersecurity drills and campaigns inside the organization. So these kind of sessions that we are holding today are not just something that CDAC or MIT or certain is going to be taking up. All your organizations, wherever you are, you can actually start with these kind of sessions internally, so that you can actually train all the individual users of devices and all the officers and all the staff from the lowest to the highest level on what are the cybersecurity best practices. Then, as a policy measure, it is mandatory that the organization needs to start liaising with certain and other government and other industry cybersecurity organizations. So, certain, of course, is mandatory that you need to start talking to us. You need to update your point of contact with certain, so that if any cybersecurity incident is detected from our side or is reported to us, we can immediately get to the correct person, whoever is actually handling the cybersecurity in your organization. Okay, so these are some other activities. It is again mandatory for that cybersecurity audits are conducted within the organization every 6 months, and by a external or third party vendor every year. So for this, Certain actually empanels a lot of cyber companies and vendors who specialize in cybersecurity audits. And the list of empaneled vendors is actually available on our website. You can simply go ahead and download that PDF document, which has the list of all the vendors. You can find out whoever is the nearest in within the same city, and you can actually start engaging with them through whatever the process is, through bidding process or through GEM or whatever process is there defined inside your organization. But it's actually mandatory to do this cybersecurity audit every 6 months within the organization, and once a year through a third party vendor. Preparing and updating a cyber crisis management plan. So somebody has asked, is it the duration predefined by the government? Yes, it's defined by the government as per the guidelines and as per the directions. So Certain has also released a lot of directions from time to time, and it's actually mandatory for all organizations to actually perform these cybersecurity audits as per this schedule that I just mentioned. Okay, so can you please share the document? So you can, I'll just, at the end of this presentation, I'll give the website, the link to our website, to the Certain's website. And on the homepage itself, on the top, you'll see there's a tab called empanelment. So you can just go and click on that empanelment and you'll find the document over there. It's on on the homepage itself. It's not very difficult to find. Okay, so there is something called a cyber crisis management plan. So, as the name suggests, what is the organization going to do if there is a cyber crisis that has happened inside the organization? So, this is a document that actually needs to be prepared by all organizations. And this is part of the prevention phase, wherein you are actually preparing for a cyber attack. Of course, cyber attacks will happen. You cannot prevent a cyber attack from happening. The only thing that you can prevent is that the cyber attack from creating any kind of damage inside your network or your organization. So that's what our aim is. So Mr. Gagan Singh, I think, has shared the link to our website. Thank you so much. You can just look at the chat section, but I'll advise just keep I think we'll continue with the slides, and you'll anyways find the link at the end of the presentation. Or you can copy it from the chat section after the presentation is over. Okay, so the cyber crisis management plan is actually a very detailed document which is created by all organizations, which define the entire process of responding to different kinds of cyber attacks. And it also defines the roles and responsibilities of individuals who are dealing with this. So it's a fairly detailed document which needs to be created. Now, we of course don't expect that all organizations are going to have the maturity that they can actually create such a huge detailed document. So Certain actually has a baseline CCMP document available with us, and you can contact our organization, you can contact Certain, and you will be provided, you can ask for the baseline document, and based on this baseline document, you can actually create your own cyber crisis management plan. So not all the sections which are there in the document may be relevant to your organization, or there could be certain section which you need to add. But more or less, you can get the basic definitions and the basic structure of the document you can get from us itself, and then you can augment or enhance it as per your organization's requirements. Okay, so cyber crisis awareness program. So regularly updating, educating the users and all the employees. So this is part of this session. This is also part of this process. And we actually need to encourage all of course, if you are an officer or whatever level you are, encourage whoever your subordinate is, just tell them that they need to attend all the Cyber Jagrukta sessions that are being organized or whatever other cybersecurity related trainings or workshops are being organized, just encourage them to attend these. And of course, you should attend them yourselves as well. So, part of the preparation again, designing a secure network architecture. So, there are certain vendors, or there will be certain companies which can actually help with creating a secure network architecture and management of the entire network. So, I've seen in a lot of my cyber incident response experience that a lot of government organizations actually outsource this activity to vendors or organizations who have the capabilities. If your organization has the capability to do it yourself, well and good. No, that's great. But of course, the auditing needs to be done from time to time to make sure that all the necessary checks and balances are in place and the network is in a good cybersecurity posture. Okay, so part of this process is periodic reviewing and updating the network architecture and design, and enabling logging on all devices. Of course, if we don't have the logs enabled on our devices, then we cannot figure out where and how the cyber attack happened, and we can, of course, not mitigate it, and we won't even be able to find out what happened so that we can protect ourselves in the future. So logs are really, really important. And as per the certain directions that were released in 2022, it is actually mandatory for all organizations to enable logging for a minimum of 180 days. So you need to make sure that your cybersecurity teams are doing this. If you are part of the cybersecurity team, then you need to make sure that you are actually ensuring this is correctly implemented in your organization. Then part of the preparation is asset management. So in a lot of cybersecurity attacks and incidents that I have seen personally, what happens is when we go to the organization and we ask for certain basic things like the network diagrams or the information flow diagrams, the hardware inventory, all these things are actually not available with the organization. So these are actually very basic. If your organization doesn't have a list of the basic hardware inventory, then how are you going to respond to a cyber incident? So most of the cases that we have seen is that there is huge negligence on the part of the on the network teams, on the cybersecurity related teams, especially in government organizations, that they don't maintain this hardware inventory and they don't know where the information is coming and where it is going, and the network diagrams are not proper or they have not been updated. For example, if we create a network today and we create a network diagram, 5 years down the line, that same network diagram is not going to be relevant because there are going to be a lot of changes based on the requirement. So the network diagram is needed to be updated from time to time whenever there are small little changes in the network. This actually helps a lot, especially when it comes to coming back on your feet, from a huge cyber attack. So these are all essential. These are again mandatory by as per certain directions, which are of course which of course come from the government of India. Okay, regularly updating all the operating systems, applications, removing unsupported software. A lot of organizations are still using Windows 7, Windows 8. These two operating systems are no longer supported by Microsoft. They are not receiving any updates, but still a lot of organizations are using these. So if you are also one of those organizations or users, please ask your network teams and your infrastructure teams to remove and discard all these operating systems and update your machines with the latest OSs, whatever operating system it is, just update them and come on to the latest version so that you can be relatively on a more protected side of things. If you're using Windows 7, of course, there is no protection. You can assume that even if you're using an antivirus, you are not protected because the OS itself is not secure. Then monitoring the threat intelligence feed from certain and other sources. So certain is not these only agency which is delivering threat intelligence feeds. If you are part of the network security team, you can actually subscribe to the threat intelligence feed of certain. you can simply send us an email and you can ask for getting subscribed to our intelligence feed. So whatever happens, you will keep getting to know the latest findings in the cybersecurity domain, especially concerned with the government infrastructure. So if there is a new kind of attack, there are new threat actor, there are new attacker IPs which are there, there are new malware hashes, there are new tactics, techniques, and procedures which are there. You will keep on getting all these latest information from our side. You will also keep receiving these from other agencies like NCI, PC, IB, RNAW. So a lot of agencies are actually working in this area. And whenever you receive a letter from them or you receive a communication, it needs to be taken very seriously and it needs to be whatever the recommendations have been sent by the organization, they need to be implemented as soon as possible. Okay, so preparation again, maintaining situational awareness, and part of that is visiting CERT-In's website. So this is the URL, certin.bharat. That's the Hindi domain. The English domain is cert-in.org.in. We have another website called Cyber Swachhata Kendra. So that's another division of CERT-In which actually operates and which actually looks at the cyber threats which might be trying to attack your organization from outside. So you can actually ask your organization to be listed or to be added onto the list of IPs which we keep monitoring from outside. So you can just send us an email again that you want to be enrolled in the CSK platform. So these are two websites. Of course, csk.gov.in is another website where you will keep getting relevant latest information about all the cyber attacks and threats that are going on. So you can just go to this and check out this website as well. Okay, so these are the different sections which are there in the document. Of course, I'm not going to be talking about all of them in detail. So you can, each of you in your organization can actually go through the document and you can check out all the sections. Some of these sections may not actually be relevant to you, but the rest of them, of course, can be useful. So I'll just list down uh, all the sections which are there and what all we have covered in that. So the first one is network or infrastructure security. Of course, all the devices, all the servers, all the individual client machines which are there inside your network, and all the servers, applications, whatever is running on inside your network, that is covered in the first section. Second is identity and access management. So you might be logging into your machine as a standalone user, or you might be logging in as a part of a domain user. So there are different kind of access managements. So we have covered that in the document. Application security, how to protect the different applications that you use inside your machines. So all of each of your organizations would be using different kind of applications. Of course, Microsoft Office and other LibreOffice or other office related software is something that we all use. But beyond that, also, if you're using any specialized software tools, then you can just go through this application security part. Data security, of course, if your organization is hosting any kind of data, then data security. And all of us have some kind of data hosted on each of our individual machines. So this is a section which will be relevant to all of us. Third party access and outsourcing. If your organization is outsourcing some activities, which I believe most of us will be, this section actually talks about how we can securely provide access to third party vendors without them letting into the secure areas of the networks. So that's another section. And then cloud service security. If your organization is hosting some kind of website or some kind of service on the cloud, you can actually go through this section, how to secure your entire cloud infrastructure. Endpoint security, of course, self-explanatory. Each of the endpoints needs to be made secure. Social media security, if your organization has some social media handle like Instagram, X, or Facebook, or whatever. So, how do we secure our social media handles? In fact, some of you might be handling social media handles for some important persons also. There have been cases in the past where the social media account of some key persons have been compromised, and this section actually talks about preventing such kind of attacks from happening. Vulnerability and patch management, something relevant to all of us, something that needs to be looked at by the network team of all organizations. How and when the vulnerabilities are to be patched. Security monitoring and incident management. So this is something for the cybersecurity team or the CISO to look at how to monitor the cyber attacks and how to manage the incidents. And then security auditing guidelines. So I already talked about the auditing process, how you can go about it, and what is the timelines. But this one actually uh, provides all the detailed guidelines for how the audit is supposed to happen. Okay, so with this we end the third section that was about the organizational security best practices. So now I'm going to be talking about individual security best practices very briefly. Because most of these things are actually being covered by CDAC from time to time, as Mr. Jagdish was just telling you about, how to protect your passwords and stuff. So I have not, I have kept some very key points over here, not very detailed, but let's just go through them. Okay, so first thing that I have put in here is called self-audit. So we talked about the organizational audit. Now we'll talk about the individual level audit. So what you can do as an individual is to go through your social media profiles and just check what information you have actually shared on your social media handles. Just see if you have by mistake or unknowingly shared some kind of personally identifiable information or PII on any of your photos or posts or anything. So, as government employees, I would suggest to all of you that you should not be very public, or you should not publicize where you work and what you do a lot, because the our nation state actors, especially from our extreme, quote unquote, extremely friendly neighbors from both our sides, from both of India's sides, are actually constantly monitoring, and they are on the lookout for such government employees, they for honey trapping. So they'll just send you a friendly, friend request on one of the social media handles. You will accept it thinking that this is some random person. They'll start talking to you in a friendly manner, and then they'll start trying to extract information from you. So this happens a lot, especially for the armed forces. You might have seen a lot, at least once or twice a year, you'll see some kind of such news in the media, in some newspaper or some news channels, that army officer or a lower level army officer or some air force officer or whatever, they were honey trapped by a Pakistani agent, and they were talking to them. They were revealing some kind of sensitive government data to the attacker. So these things can still happen to any government employee. So I would suggest you should not post anything about your work profile and what you do on the social medias. And then check your friend list to see if there are any unknown people. Go through all your social media profiles, just see if you have added any unknown people, and immediately just remove them. That's what my suggestion is. You don't know who might be monitoring whatever on whatever you post on your social media handles. So it could be a potential risk. Recheck your cybersecurity settings inside the social media profiles, and make sure you find out what is seen by whom. Just restrict some information to a key group. Just it should not be available publicly. Make sure that only people who are connected with you as friends on your social media profile or who are not unknown to you are able to see such information. Okay, so some very basic things that we need to keep in mind. Do not click on URLs that you receive in emails. So there's something called phishing. I think Jagdish ji just told about. Phishing is basically they'll create a website. I also spoke about that email.gov.in phishing page that we saw in the beginning of the presentation. So that particular page I was actually sent via a phishing email. it had the link and it said that you need to go ahead and change your password on this particular website. A lookalike page of the NIC email opened, and the attacker actually got hold of the login ID and password of the government employee. So that's how they attack. So you should not click directly on URLs which you receive. If you're receiving something, just copy paste it onto another address bar and then open it. Secondly, make sure wherever that email is coming from, just go through that email ID. The email IDs can also be spoofed. So if you are in doubt whether the email is genuine, you can actually send it to us on our email ID, which I will be sharing at the end of this presentation. And we will find out if that is a genuine email and we'll let you know. Do not click on attachments in unknown emails. So at times you might receive an urgent email from some very senior officer within the organization who will say that you need to click on this attachment and do as has been instructed in the document immediately. So you might get a little scared that this is some urgent task and you need to perform it. So you'll click on the attachment and it will end up being a virus and it will compromise your email ID, your machine, even your personal data and everything. So that is something that needs to be kept in mind. Another point which I have not listed here, but it's something that is a problem that I have seen almost everywhere that I have gone for cybersecurity incident response, is that all of us actually keep our personal data and information on our office machines, which is something that you should absolutely refrain from. You should never host any personal information or data on your office machine because your personal data or files could actually contain some kind of malware which might compromise your office machine also, and vice versa. In fact, if as a government employee you are being targeted by some attack which you cannot even prevent, just imagine that even your personal information of your family and your kids and everything is going out into the public domain. I believe none of us would want that to happen. It's very important that we keep both of these spaces sacrosanct, and we don't bring our, house and household chores into our office. And same way, we don't take our office work into our homes. So, we need to make sure that we don't have any kind of information on our any personal information on our office machines, and no office or no official documents on our personal devices, including our mobile phones, as far as possible. Even if you have to use it for some time, make sure that you delete it after you have used it or seen it. Just simply delete it out of your device. Keep applications and devices updated. Discard devices which no longer receive cybersecurity updates. Using random unique passwords containing 12 to 16 or even more characters. That's very important. Use uppercase, lowercase letters. You know all this. For managing passwords, you can actually use cloud password managers like LastPass, OnePass, or something like this. They help you in the sense that you don't need to remember all the passwords wherever you have kept them. But there is a small, tiny asterisk over there, conditions applied asterisk over there, which means that I would not suggest that you use this for your personal email ID and your government email ID. For all your other purposes, like for example, your passwords of your Amazon account, your Flipkart account, your Blinkit account, and whatnot, you can actually use these services for storing the passwords. For your official email ID, for your office desktop, for your personal email IDs, I would not suggest that you use such services. Okay, then implementing two-factor authentication wherever it is possible. So for your government email, I think this has been enabled for all of you. But even for your personal email IDs, for your Gmail, you can actually go into the settings and you can enable two-factor authentication, which means once you enter the email ID and password, you will receive an OTP on your mobile, and only then you will be able to log in. Okay, so moving on to the last section very briefly, because mobile security actually forms a part of individual security, and all of us receive OTPs, including for our Parichaya logins, for our S-Access logins, for our for our gov.in email logins. So I will just breeze through this very simple best practices that all of us can implement. So always maintain a good antivirus on your device. This is suggested not just for desktop. Of course, we suggest that you do this even for mobile devices. Do not install application from untrusted sources. Very important. If you receive some kind of APK file, of course, if you're using an Android device, if you receive an APK file or an installer and it says you can install this application, it is called Kavach application. You receive it over WhatsApp. You should never click on it. Only install applications which have been shared, or make sure that you install application only from the Google Play Store. Now, one or two applications of the government also, unfortunately, because of Google's policies, we are not able to host on Play Store. But except for one or two such applications, I don't think there is any need for installing anything from outside the Google Play Store on Android. Of course, if you're using an iOS device, this is simply not possible unless you have jailbroken your device or rooted your device, which we never suggest. You should never do such a thing. Install applications from authorized application stores. As I said, do not click on links in SMSs and WhatsApp. Again, we all know this. If you receive a link in SMS or email or whatever, just don't click on that email because it could just don't click on that link because it could simply download any a malware on your device. Okay, check which apps have permissions such as SMS, contacts, call logs, location, storage, camera, microphone. All these are sensitive permissions on your device, and make sure that you go through the settings and you will see a list of all the applications which have all these permissions, especially the SMS one. And make sure only your SMS, your messages application is the only one which has your SMS permission as far as possible. If another application asks for it, just you can simply deny it. Okay, always check before giving permission to an app. As far as possible, try to deny all the permissions unless it is absolutely necessary. For example, if you deny the location permission, the Google Maps application is not going to work. That's pretty obvious. But if your web browser is suddenly asking for accessing your camera, you know that this could be something malicious. So your web browser should not be asking for such a permission in the first place, or your SMS application should not be asking for your location or or for example your camera. So just these are all red flags, and you need to make sure that you need to be alert about these things. Deny all permissions unless it is absolutely necessary, as I just discussed. Then last point is checking permission granted to apps already installed on the device in settings. Just go through the settings, see the permissions which you have already granted, and if you think you have granted some extra permission which may not be required, you can simply remove them. Okay, then revoking all unnecessary permissions given to applications, already discussed. Okay, so we are on to the last slide, and we are almost at the end of our time limit also. So keeping the OS updated, install updates as soon as possible. We already know this. Okay, next one is preferring devices from manufacturers which promise security updates for longer. So some mobile device manufacturers will say that they will provide security updates for 1 year. Some will say they will provide for 4 years. So you should go for devices which will receive security updates for at least 4 years, 3 to 4 years, because that is the time for which we most of us actually use our devices. Keeping applications updated, only installing applications that you absolutely need. Remove all the applications that you're not using frequently. Review the details and the number of installs. If you see some application on the Play Store which does not have a lot of installs or has a lot of negative reviews on the Play Store, then simply skip it. Don't install such an application. Avoid applications that claim to be memory cleaners and battery optimizers and all these kind of silly things. Just let your device function as it likes to be. Don't install all these over smart kind of applications because any of these could actually be malware. Okay, so we are on the last slide. So thank you so much for being part of this session. These are again the links to our website. Our email is listed here, incident at the rate of cert-in dot cert-in.org.